Good afternoon. I would like to welcome all of you to this session this afternoon. This is Shane Hayes. He is a master accordionist and founding member of the internationally acclaimed Irish trio Socks in the Frying Pan. And if you saw their show yesterday, you know why they are internationally acclaimed. Hailing from Ennis in County Clare, a region steeped in traditional music, Shane's playing is both rooted in heritage and fearlessly inventive. With a style that blends breathtaking virtuosity and rhythmic power and lyrical subtlety, that's a hard word, he has redefined what the accordion can achieve in contemporary Irish music. So please enjoy Shane Hayes.
Thanks very much. Geez, I need to get a copy of that introduction. That was great. I should have that read whenever I walk into a room somewhere, I think. So how many people are musicians here? I'm guessing most. Okay. Irish musicians-ish. Okay, I like that, yeah. I do that sometimes myself. I'm like, when someone, master accordion player, I'm like, oh, okay, build a guy up. So, I mean, it'd be great to, definitely the floor is going to be open for questions. One of the things that I was thinking about coming along was, and I know the kind of theme of the workshop is kind of like, how a beginner versus how a more advanced person tackles a tune, and especially the variations within a tune. Like you can nearly always hear straight away when someone who doesn't play Irish music is playing Irish music, or like when they're not a natural, when they're not, if it's not their first language, you know what I mean? It's so funny because it can often be people that haven't learned any music, they can't read music. I can't really read music, but you can always hear when a person, and they might be like qualified from Berkeley and they could have every sort of thing done, and I have a PhD in this, that and the other, but then you hear them playing Irish music and you don't need to know where they're from or anything about them, but you know, awesome on their instrument, but that's not their first genre, you know. So I was kind of thinking about a couple of different things different things and how I'm telling that, and how to, if a person is trying to kind of play more authentically Irish, and about some of the variations and stuff. And one of the things I was thinking was that as a kid, I remember joining a session years ago, and I was about 17. I think there was just a couple of local guys playing in the town, and I thought I was the stuff, you know. I thought I was hot stuff, new young kid on the block, and I was all super technical and blah blah blah. And I asked, could I play a tune? There was a girl there, and I was trying to impress this girl. And I asked the guys, could I take the accordion? And I played this thing, and I was expecting them to go wow at the end, you know. And there was kind of silence for about 10 seconds. I'll never forget this. And then he goes, well, it's obvious you own a PlayStation anyway. And I thought, wow, okay, you know. Now, he was half right. I mean, it was half bitterness because he couldn't do what I was doing, but at the same time, it was there was something about it. It's like if you look at someone like Martin Hayes, this is going to be largely talking now, and I will get questions as well, and I'll show examples. But if you take someone like Martin Hayes or Fergal Scahill with Wee Banjo 3 when they were out here playing, or someone who's like virtuosic, unbelievably technically talented on their instrument, and versus someone who just sits back and plays into every single note. It's so, like Frankie Gavin is another example. I would put the two of those on opposite ends. Leave Frankie Gavin on this side, this virtuosic, like, he's an anomaly in terms of Irish musicians. He's just so good. And then you have Martin Hayes on the other side, who just takes his time. He can play on his own. Like he's one of the very few people that can just command an audience, playing so thoughtfully and doing so little. And I remember talking to Martin about it years ago, and I asked him about it, and his thing was, his point was all musicians start off, especially younger, and they're thinking, oh, look at me, I can do this, look at me, I can do this, look at me, I can do this. But the real music is when you don't need to do that. And I would take that just one further, that for anyone that's learning an instrument or looking for advice in it, because people do ask me, especially kids, is it important to have the technique? And my thought on that is to get so good at technique that you're completely freed of technique, so you don't need to worry about what you're doing, you're not thinking about what you're doing, and keep practicing, keep doing drills, keep doing little bits till you can absolutely free yourself of every technique, and then strip it way back, and then see, can you actually just play a tune. Like I'll give you an example of two things, right? One is kind of stripped back, and the other is like fast and technical. Like with the band, we play on stage, especially at festivals. Like we've slow stuff we play at venues, but theatres and things. But am I talking too fast, by the way, or am I okay? Okay. The accent isn't too thick or anything. We're okay. See, do you like how I put the H in thick there for you guys? Yeah. A 3. So I'll give you two examples. At theatres, we might play some slow stuff. We don't really at festivals because it's all about this thump, thump, thump at a festival, and you're kind of just ripping stuff as you're going along. But you can decide yourselves. So, a tune called "The Bag of Spuds." So obviously the fast ripping technical one. And you'll do it differently every time, but like I would definitely consider myself largely free of worrying about technique. Like if I hear someone doing something cool that I haven't heard, I'll say, wow, that's cool, and I'll try it and I'll get it within one or two goes. But I don't necessarily play that way anymore. Like if I was at home now, I might do something more like on my own. Very, very different. You know, there's still technical stuff in there, but the idea is I'm kind of stripping it back and I'm taking my time with every note. Martin Hayes is the absolute best example of that. He's unbelievable, first off, and he can do all the technical stuff. Just chooses to strip tunes way back and really feel into every single note. And his thing is all about building the momentum and building the tune, and he'll do something totally different every single time. It's unbelievable. And the thing is, when you're ripping a tune at 5,000 miles an hour, it's cool, whatever, and it's great technique and there's great stuff blasting, but when you're slowing it way down, there's a recording that Martin does, and he does one note different. It's like, it's this note that you wouldn't expect, and I find that like it's my favourite thing of the whole track, and I'm just waiting for him to do that one note variation. And if you're playing like 13, 14 notes a second, you're not going to hear that, but when he's doing that, like, okay, I'll give you an idea, right? There's that bass. Can you all hear that okay? Yeah, and then there's this bass. That you can work that as well. So I'll just do that one once. See here, it's so. See what I mean? It's just that one taste of something. And Martin does that on a different level entirely. So he's just like, he plays so slow and so steady and so controlled. But I find myself when I listen to that track, I'm like, oh, do it. And then he does it like, so good, you know. You're hanging on one note as opposed to that like, 10,000 notes a second type of thing. Like, it's just, there's such a difference in it. And that's my big take on the technique versus I guess feeling into the tune. But have I generated questions already? 10 points to the first question. Yeah. Great question. How much of it is my own style versus and what you've incorporated from other musicians rather than kind of as in what you've grown up with in the basic bare bones of the tune? You mean? Yeah. I guess that's probably my own. That's nearly entirely. Most box players would pick me playing that out as me playing that, I think. Most box players at a high level would definitely listen and go, that's definitely Shane, you know. I suppose the cool thing about being free of the technique of it is that every time you learn a new technique, you're learning a new tool, and the more tools you have, and especially when you can do them without having to overthink about them, when you can just do them, you get to kind of ornament the tune and do things different as well. So that is probably my own at this stage. Yeah, it's a fair question though. Any other ones? Question in the back? Oh yeah, great question. How much, as I was growing up, how much of my time was spent practicing drills versus practicing tunes? A combined 0 minutes of my entire life has been spent doing drills. 0, because it bore the living daylights out of me. There are some musicians that swear by it, and they swear by scales and stuff as well. I couldn't do it. It just used to kill me. So what I would do is I'd find somebody doing something that I liked, that I found was technical. I suppose as a kid especially, I loved the technical things. And if someone was doing something cool, I was thinking, oh, wow. And I just keep playing that over and over and over, along with the CD, whatever, until I got it. But I loved it so much, and I just kept at it. And when you get really good at doing it, for one tune, it does carry over to another tune, and you eventually start freeing yourself up. But I mean, I'm sure any good music teacher will tell you, practice your scales and practice your drills. I'm not going to say that. You're getting the same thing. Yeah, without the monotony of it. Yeah, and the cool thing is, it's nearly exciting, because if you're playing along the tune and there's the fast bit is coming up, you're like, okay, here we go, and then you get it, you don't get it, and you have to go back and start again. It's like, here we go, So, but you do clock up hours playing it, and if you're playing a tune, there's a guy called Niall Vallely. He's an unbelievable concertina player. Anyone that there's kind of two thoughts in Irish traditional music. There's the traditional police, who say too fast and too much ornamentation, and then there's the innovative people. The traditional police would hate Niall Vallely, because he does this. It's this mad run, but I loved it. And I remember playing it at one of the sessions, and my brother looked across and he said, "Stop messing." But it was just so much fun though doing it. But that's how I would encourage people to, if you insist on not practicing scales or doing drills or whatever, find something that's cool, that's still within a roughly achievable level, and then play along with that. It's a good way around it, I think. Any other ones? One more? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so if a flute player is doing something, yeah. I guess if it's well, Niall was a concertina player, which I know is similar to the box anyway. There are obviously some variations and ornamentations and stuff that you can't do on the box. An instrument is limited enough to whatever, but I can't bend notes on the box, So, but if it's something that's kind of cool, I might try and work a way around it. Yeah, it's if I like it, I'll try and do it basically, or I'll keep working till I find a way around it. Yeah, and you get so good at it that it gets faster to get the hard things, So, yeah, no worries. Any other questions? Yeah, question at the back. Great question. How much variation do I do from concert to concert? You mean on stage, or I would say that I don't think I've ever played the exact same tune the exact same way ever. Where it might be just a small little subtle thing, or it might be just something. It could be something tiny, or I could just go off the rails. But I've probably never played the same tune twice. No, I hope I haven't anyway. It's whatever comes to you. In terms of how are you hearing? How do I hear when someone it's not their first genre? People kind of attack the tune if they're from a different genre of something. When people come to Irish music, they kind of tend to attack the tune, or that's one thing. That's a very obvious thing. Okay, so here's a tune. It's kind of hard to attack it, but it's not flowing. You know what I mean? So, like a fella came to me for a lesson from a Japanese band, great player, and he was learning the accordion. And one of the things that I had for him was that to stabilize his left hand. So he was kind of holding it like he was holding it like this, I think. So it was like if I try and play the same tune when it's off balance, right? Versus there's a much better flow because of control of the instrument. And I think there is kind of like a rhythmic flow, which is down to dynamics as well, of course. There's I know, Tommy, your favourite one, the Golden Eagle hornpipe. And I remember an old teacher of mine saying that he said I was playing it too flat, so I was going like that. And he said, imagine that you're sitting on the back of a donkey on your way into town playing it. And it was like, so instead of, I'll give you the first half flat and the second half on the back of a donkey, right? You know, it just adds a tiny bit, but like, it's all those tiny bits that really do start to add up. And I think that's, especially for anyone that's like aiming to get higher, it's like absolute control of the instrument, you know. And if that means slowing it down, slowing down the pace of what you're doing, if it means trying to play it flat and less attacking of an instrument, it goes for any instrument, like not just an accordion, you know, anything at all. But keep them coming if there's questions anyway. So, God, you're a very knowledgeable bunch, so no questions at all. Yes? How do you get from note reading to not? Oh, that's a really good question. I think when I was 21, I was asked to teach in this University of Limerick summer music on the Shannon course, right? And like it was this prestigious thing, and I had there was 6 girls in front of me, and they were all like 15, 16-year-old girls, and they were awesome violin players, awesome, so good. So I brought in a tune the first day, and I handed out the notes, and they just played it perfectly, but played it note for note, what was on the sheet, you know. And I was trying to get them to kind of let go a bit or do something, you know, nothing doing, and there was no challenge. And then the next day I brought them in a really hard tune, and they just put it down and played it note for note, flawless. So then I asked my brother, a fiddle player, I said, give me the hardest tune you can find, and brought it in note for note, perfect. I was thinking, what am I going to do with these girls? You know, they're so good and they're so much better than I am at this stuff. So I went back to the first tune. I said, let's play this again. And they played it again. And I took the sheet away and I said, now do it again. They look and going, how do we do that? You know, no concept, like it just blew the mind. Like, sure, that's impossible. How could you do that? Whereas for me, it's impossible to do what they were doing, was just to read the thing. Do you know when you become dependent on Google Maps or something like that to get you to a place, and you're not even thinking, or do you know if you're always in the passenger seat and someone else is driving, but then you need to direct a new person how to get there and you don't know how to get there, you know what I mean? I think that's what it's like if people are learning, especially coming from a classical background, if they're learning violin and then you take the sheet music away and they're thinking, how am I supposed to do that? The answer is the same as if you were trying to drive a direction for the first time yourself. Do it and make mistakes. You know, like as in try and learn try and make a basic structure of it, and you'll naturally make a few mistakes, but they will become your version of the tune. Like there's so many cool ornamentations that I've come up with that have been absolute accidents. You know, like I've hit a wrong note and I went, ooh, that's cool, I'm going to do that again. You know. And there's so many ways to work around a tune. Like, it depends what level you're coming from as well. But like, I mean, a basic idea of a tune, like, okay. Okay, here's the most basic that you'd see on the notes. That's it, right? But I can do a roll with a little flick, a triplet, A rundown. The chords. You know, there's so many things you can do, and like, I mean, when we're playing, oftentimes we end up playing with people, or especially at sessions, it's like the way that you learn so fast at sessions. Some people are faster than others, and you do get faster the more you do this. But like a friend of mine was coming in to play a gig with me, just a session gig at home, and he played this tune, and he was playing it a little rough, and then he just played it perfectly the second time around. And I said, "Where did you get that one?" And he said, "I just heard it on the radio coming in." So he just heard it on the radio, and we played for 20 minutes, and then he went back to a tune that wasn't fresh anymore because he played 50 other tunes and just could play it like that, and he has it forever now, you know. But the way you do it is you just kind of start trying to make your way along, and like your classical player, right? So to give you the exact same example. You know, I'm literally, that's the first time I've ever tried that, but I'm like, first thing that popped into my head, I'm making mistakes, but I'll be faster next time. And I'll be faster the next time, and the next time, and the next time, you know. So if you have a tune, if you kind of just want to be, I mean, everyone knows these tunes in their head, you know. I mean, like start by humming it in your head, you know. Like if you have like we sang Brown Eyed Girl at the Chinall thing there. Everybody knows Brown Eyed Girl, you know. So like. So start with that, and then like when you find a tune you like a trad tune, if you can hum it or whistle along with it, you can play it. It's just going to be, you'll have to get over the initial struggle of like, I need the notes. Get it in there first. Yeah, it's impossible otherwise. Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, that's fine too. I mean, the thing is that try and be. Do you need the sheet music when you're playing the tune then at home? But that's okay. Like, I think if you keep making those same mistakes, eventually, like, you're at a place where you're just about treading water, and like, if you keep pushing on, eventually you'll be above water, and then you'll be swimming. You know, so like, I mean, I know you're kind of saying that. You're asking me a problem, but all I'm actually hearing is promise. You know, like you're actually in a really good place. It's like, go home once you've learned the tune, try and play it along once you get home, and then the next day try and play it without the music. Maybe you have to refer back to the thing. But that happens all the time. I mean, I might learn a tune and then forget some part of it, and I have to go back and listen to it again. No more than if you're trying to remember lyrics of something, you know, it's like you forget, you have to go back and check, oh yeah. But like the more you do that, the more you're hammering home that part of the brain, you know, so... Yeah, once the iPad is taken away from you, it's a different story. But you know, you're just coming from a different part of the world as well. So like, it's a different part of the world of music. Like, so it does come, like it is a process. No more than if I started reading music now. Like, I mean, if you put the thing in front of me and said, play and read that at the same time. I know where A is, right? That's the only note I know on the sheet music. So if I'm trying to find, if there's a note there, I have to go A, B, C, D, E, and is it a sharp? No. So that's the speed that I go at. So like if you put it in front of me and said, play, not a hope, but I know that if I keep at it, I'll get there, you know. So you're in a good place, is what I'm saying. But yeah. Other questions? Or more examples or anything? Any personal instrument questions? Discoveries? Yeah. Is this all for free reed instruments? For reed instruments? No, everything, every instrument. Doesn't matter what it is. Yeah. Like, I mean, if you're playing the whistle, the flute, the guitar, it's like it doesn't matter. Like, try something and make it. This is across the board, you know. Another thing as well is like, so it's kind of establishing a bit of a flow of a tune. Like, I'm not playing it flat. It's not like there's. I'm exaggerating towards the end, but you get the idea. there's a little bit of a flow the whole way through a tune. Again, any instrument that goes for the Irish traditional music genre. That's just that goes for any instrument. In terms of technical stuff, my advice on technical stuff is not to smother a tune. That's if anyone is trying. It's gone. So where's the line? And that line is going to be different for everyone. Like, some people won't do anything with the tune; they'll play it much slower. Which is lovely too. I find it out here, or especially on tour, we're playing at 5,000 miles an hour. But at home on my own, I'll probably play a lot slower. Aside in the room, just because you're trying to. I suppose the whole idea is that you're trying to express a tune. Now we're getting deep, right? So you're trying to put your own stamp on it, but you're also kind of trying to express yourself a little bit as well. So, if I'm ever buzzing about something, I think I had 2 coffees in a row before playing some gig the other night, and just absolutely ripped into a tune. But I was just feeling a high energy, and I just felt no, I didn't smother it, but I was just faster and whatever else. But if you're trying. Nice flow to it, it's nice and relaxed. It's what are you putting into it? Same goes for I've probably played all reels, but jigs, that was a waltz, but jigs are the same thing. Even as I start messing with that, there's a pulse going in it. It's not it's but it's not. It's and maybe a little bit of a lift at the end, or lifts here and there, or dips here and there, just to make the lifts that bit higher and stuff as well. So there's an endless supply of stuff you could do with it once you free yourself of the technique. And even if you don't, honestly, I play the guitar as well, and I've been messing around with piano, and I know I'm never going to get to a level on piano that I'm at with the accordion, and the guitar either. But that doesn't mean that you can't put feeling into the music, So the question is, how do you put feeling into the music then as well? Control. Everything is with control. You can't either make it excited or tame or level out unless you can control the tune and control the instrument. But question? Yeah. Great question. Okay, so on a whistle, can you add whatever ornaments you want, or is there it's music, so there's an obvious yes answer. You can do whatever you want at any time with it. You know what I mean? If it doesn't take away from the tune, then I would say yeah. I would say that, and these are things that you're not thought. These are kind of the rules. If it doesn't take away from it, if it takes away from it, you're doing too much with it. Now it's largely up to you if you like doing it. You might like doing it, and nobody else likes it, but you're playing music for yourself anyway. So, but in general, I would say that as long as there's a flow, and as long as you're not chopping at the flow, then yeah. My music teacher used to always say, now he was much more traditional, but he used to always say that you should start on a strong note. Always start on instead of. that does kind of chop it a bit, you know. It's like, and it is kind of nice to start on a, like you finish a sentence with a full stop, or a period as you guys call it, right? So like you finish a sentence with a period and you start with a capital letter. So there are rules even with English that we follow that we don't think twice about. So like I think with a tune there probably should be a definite start, even, and like I'm not saying, I mean, a capital letter is not like the biggest deal in the world, it's just a small, but it's accurate, you know, and then a full stop or a period is accurate as well, you know. So like if I'm starting any tune, and you'll always hear me doing it, I think, for everything, but I didn't go, or like, it's always, and I'm kind of finishing that piece with it. So it's nearly always, actually that's not a bad way of putting it, the capital letter and the period at the end of every phrase. I'll play another tune and I'll see, am I doing that? There's... Even though I probably just gave that last note even just a tiny bit of a kick before going into the last part, just an extra little bit of something before going up to it, you know. But like, you know, I did give a bang. Any other questions? Some notes are passing notes, yeah? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so passing notes are like notes that affect the metric. I would say that as long as they're not affecting the flow, do you know what I mean? So like if they're not, does that sound too deep, overly deep, affecting the flow? Is that's okay? Like if you're doing there, okay, there's an example, right? So if I go, no, it's actually hard to make mistakes. When it's hard to intentionally, I make plenty, it's just hard to do it intentionally. There. Like I'm doing a load of passing notes there. That one, there's one of them that kind of feels a little bit more out of place than others. So like, you know, some does, like one does just feel a little bit more out of place than others. And it's like when you're doing that and you can catch yourself doing that, like record yourself playing. And when you hear that, it's like, that one is actually a bit off. They say that you play your best stuff after recording an album, which is really true, because every time we record an album and I hear it and I go, oh God, that's terrible stuff, you know. Like, and I always know what I need to fix after that. I just need to keep recording albums. I'll be really good for a finish. But yeah, so like it's the same with any role, like. The first one sounded wrong. Like you'll hear them when you put them in. It's like, that doesn't sound good there. That needs to change. And like that's what it's all about. It's all trial and error, you know. So hope that answers that question. Okay. Yeah. 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 I'm always conscious, like advising classically trained people, because like you're better than we are at all, like the technique stuff. Can you play without the sheet? You can. Okay. I feel like I need to hear you play something and then kind of go like there and there and there, do something different there, there and there. You know what I mean? It's at times the difference is, if you get someone who's really good classically trained and they're coming, they just sound a little bit. It sounds like they're playing from a sheet music, even if they're not playing from a sheet music, you know. And it's like they're trying to be too perfect. And like instead of letting go, a great one for you so is to imagine yourself sitting on top of a donkey walking into town, right? And force yourself to play too far the opposite direction. Do you know what I mean? So like if you're used to going, and if the balance is, start by going, you know, push it all the way there, like. And when you push it too far, you'll kind of go, you'll know yourself that's not nice either. And then pulling it back a bit, you'll actually, I think, do that with every single tune you have, you know. And it might not work with 90% of the tunes, but the 10% you'll get what you're looking for out of that. You know what I mean? Because in terms of variations and stuff, like the variations in Irish music are actually, they're pretty straightforward. Like it's either like a passing note or a triplet or a roll or something. And again, placing them in the right place. So like, don't start the phrase with the roll or whatever. But aside from that, I think it's more of a flow. I think it's more of a flow, and I'm basing it just on the classical musicians I know versus the trad people. And I'm thinking of flute players as well. There's a flow because there's a freedom that you could call it a freedom, or you could call it a lack of pillars that are put in place for classical musicians. You know what I mean? Like you're told this is the way to do it, and like you're nearly told where to stress a note, as opposed to given free rein and like make it that way. So I would try and play all your tunes as badly as you can, if that makes sense. And try and go way overboard in terms of like bouncing and stuff as well, or like try do too much variations, try do too much ornamentation, try do too much stuff. One really cool thing would be to find a tune that you really like, and then find how many different ways you can come down the stairs. What I mean by that is like, so okay. Second half. Second time round. So when you go back into the tune, try and find a different alternative to coming back into the tune. So it might be. I'm making mistakes here, but you know what I mean? Like I'm forcing myself not to take the same. Like when I was learning guitar, I was playing in Dadgad, and I had a D chord, and the next night I went in, I said, I'm not playing that D. I have to find an inversion of that D, and I'm going to use this inversion. That D is banned for the whole night. So anything I played, that D is gone, and I'm going to use this one instead. And you could find, if you do something like that, it's like I am not using those notes in that order, whatever it is, and play the tune 15 times and play it wrong 14 of the 15 times, but the one you hit will be like, that's what I need. And like, you don't need to learn how to do it right. What you need to do is to change the way you're thinking about it, you know. And like I'm not trying to tell you what to think, I'm trying to teach you how to think, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's a different, it's not like a classical musician is saying, how do you play trad? It's like, this is what you do to play trad. It's like, it's not that, you just need, it's a switch in thinking, you know. But it's a harder question to answer really. But any last ones? I know I'm like 6 minutes over already, sorry. But any last one, or you're all experts now, I suppose? Oh, okay. Thanks for coming along. No worries.